we're all good to go. So thanks for coming on. And why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the Bayshore ferry business?
Well, thank you for having me, first of all, Sean.
No problem.
Well, I didn't start out in the ferry business. I grew up in Bayshore, graduated from Bayshore High School, and went to college up in Massachusetts and stayed up there till I was 50.
Wow.
And then as my father started working at Fire Island Ferries in 1948 when it first started.
Wow.
And he was a deckhand on the freight boat and then moved his way up. And then in 1970, he bought the company.
Wow, so 30 years later.
Yep.
Wow.
And then, it was funny because he asked me to come work with him because he wanted to play more golf, go to Florida for the winter, do the, the retirement thing.
Yeah, 30 years on the boat, I'm sure he's...
So he was ready. He was ready to do that. So he asked me if I would come join him, and we finally came to terms. He said, "You make too much money," and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry about that, but here's what it's going to take to get me here." And we came to terms, and I took the business over in 2003. I came up,
Nice.
and so I was in the computer industry before that. So I wasn't even in anything closely resembling the ferry industry.
Ferry industry, yeah. So how did you learn? Kind of just trial and error, or you hopped on with him for a little while and he kind of showed you the ropes?
Well, when I first came in, I took over the land-based operations, which was the parking and the terminals and rentals and those type of things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I started there, and then about 2010 or so, I took over the whole thing. And in that time, it's all OJT, just like most jobs.
Yep.
You get there and they tell you, "Oh, you'll figure it out once you get going."
That's the best way to learn, right? So do you have other family in the business?
Yes, I have an older brother
Okay.
who's in the business with me.
Okay, cool.
And then I also have my son, our son, Brendan Mooney, and he's 39 and he's vice president. And then our daughter Morgan, who's 31, she's Captain Morgan, and she's part of the ferry operations side of things.
Okay, so you got a lot of family in the business.
Yes.
How's that? Because right now I'm in a family business. My uncle owns the agency I work at, and we work together for about 9 years now. And good day, there's a lot more good days than bad days, but I think no matter who you're with, you might clash a little bit, but in the end of the day, you all get along, your family. So how's it with you with family? Is it something similar, or is it?
I really do enjoy having family there.
Yeah. Good retention, right?
I like working with my father, who still is, my father's 90. He'll come into work during the summer when he's up north here and, come in and do whatever he wants to do. I said, "Dad, you're 90. That's what you're supposed to do, whatever you want to do." So he enjoys it still. It's still in his blood. And, one of my first parameters for taking the job, I said, "Dad, if we're doing everything your way, you don't need me. Just keep doing what you're doing."
Yeah, right.
But if you're going to have me come in, then I'm going to get the reins or not get the reins. So there's no in between there. Yeah. So he agreed to that. And, he's still a significant consultant in all of these efforts.
Yeah, it keeps him busy, I'm sure, though, right?
Oh, yeah. And having my son and my daughter, it's great to see your kids every day, especially as they get older, and watch them grow. And I have grandkids. My son has 2 kids, and when they come in, everything stops. The office, everybody stops to talk to the girls, and and then you can have 4 generations in the building in one shot.
That's really
so
cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like a family day every day almost.
Yeah.
So I read something online. I wanted to ask you about. It said something about the ferry having over almost 1 million passengers a year. Does that sound about right?
That's correct.
That's correct.
We all in, we're pretty close to 1.25 million.
Wow.
Including the water taxis.
Okay.
And the ferries.
Okay, that's a lot. And how many boats do you have altogether?
28.
28. Wow, is it that many?
We have ferries, then we have the water taxi business as
Okay.
well, and then we do all the freight and barging. And so if you
cool.
add it all together, it's
Yeah.
28.
Okay. Yeah, I also read that was it last year that you got two new boats?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the deal with those two?
We had a boat built in Rhode Island, one of the
Okay.
a new ferry, the Isle of Fire,
Oh, that's a cool name.
and we and that's a recycle of an older name that was a boat that serviced Saltaire and Fair Harbor, and we also have a new water taxi, Pride,
Yeah.
and we took delivery of those the beginning of the summer last year.
Yeah. And when it's built in Rhode Island, how do you guys just ride it right over? Or-
Oh yeah, we had one boat built in Rhode Island, the other was built in Virginia, and we brought the water taxi was built in Virginia. We brought that up, via the waterway.
Yeah, that's cool. And now back to the 1.25 million passengers. Is it? I would imagine. I mean, I don't know the exact percentage, but a big percentage of it is probably around Memorial Day weekend, right?
Well, it's we basically do 80% of our business in 2 months,
Wow.
July and August. So
Wow.
it's bedlam for 2 months,
Yeah.
and it falls off pretty quick.
Yeah.
September, the beginning of September is good, but as as the month wears on, it drops off pretty
Yeah.
quickly. And then we ramp up in June, kind of the same way it ramps down in September, and then July and August are all out.
Yeah. What's your favorite part of Fire Island?
Well, we have a house in Kismet, so naturally Kismet's my favorite part. But,
Yeah.
it really depends on what you're looking to do. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's a good point.
Ocean Beach is where the action is. So if you want to go for action, you go to Ocean Beach. If you
I've been
want to
there a few
go,
times.
each one of the communities has a little different pace and profile to it.
Yeah, I agree with that completely because, like you said, Ocean Beach, you have the bars and a lot of the restaurants. If you're looking to have a really good time, and then if you just want to relax, I like the place where the shack is,
Atlantique.
Yeah, Atlantique, and what's the other one? Davis Park.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Davis Park too. I like as well.
So that's out east a little further.
Yeah, it's out east a little further.
And they have the casino there.
Yes, yeah, the casino there. But those I like because you have a good if you want to go to the shack, grab some food, grab a drink, you can, and you could also go to the beach and kind of have the peace and quiet. So like it's a mix of both,
No, we do. We handle for the ferry operations. We handle from Ocean Bay Park down to Kismet. So
Down to Kismet. Okay.
There's
Okay.
8 communities there that we service here out of Bayshore, but the water taxi handles the whole island. So we go all the way. Actually, we do. We go from Captree to the lighthouse, all the way down to Davis Park and Watch Hill.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of territory to cover.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, and I'm sure you probably get calls during that extremely busy time. I'm sure you get calls all hours of the night
Yeah,
for the water taxi.
We took over the water taxi in 2004. We bought it, and of course we're ferry operators, so our immediate decision was to put it on a loose schedule.
Yeah.
So for example, if you're coming out of Kismet, the boat comes out of Kismet at the bottom of every hour.
Okay.
If you're leaving Ocean Beach, it leaves Ocean Beach at the top of every hour.
Yeah.
So it's not an on-demand service. It's more of a loose schedule,
That makes sense.
so that people can plan their time.
Yeah.
And we can be more efficient operationally that way as well.
Yeah, for sure. That makes a lot of sense. Another thing I wanted to ask you was just some things I read online. Again, when I read something online, I take it with a grain of salt because you never know how true it is, Have you guys had celebrities, quote unquote, people seeing celebrities on the ferry before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I saw something about Martin Luther King back in the day.
Oh, there was he went to Seaview back, in the early 60s.
Wow.
And, he took a trip over there, and that was before, I was a little kid then, so I'm not exactly sure what he was doing over there.
Yeah.
But we do have a lot of celebrities. And I always view Fire Island is where celebrities go if they don't want to be seen.
Yeah.
And the Hamptons is where they go if they do want to be seen.
Yeah.
So, Tina Fey and Uma Thurman and some of these people are just over there, and I remember watching Uma Thurman. We were walking by her house, and she's out front selling lemonade with her kids. And,
that's great.
Coloring seashells for the kids to sell on the sidewalk. And she was just one of the,
part of the community.
Part of the community, and no paparazzi, none of that over there.
Cool.
So
that's cool. It's like a little escape for her, probably.
Yeah, and I think they, we respect that, as residents, and I think they enjoy that as, as a consumer of that.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Speaking of like a little escape, I think that's one of the best parts about Fire Island. Even though we're only a half hour away from it right now, I feel like if I went there on a weekend, it's like being on vacation. It's a quick ride.
It is amazing how well kept a secret it's been. And, you look at our proximity to the city and you go from, Bedlam and mayhem in Manhattan to Fire Island. And next thing you know, there's no cars, and your kids, you can let your kids out and they can run around. And it's quite a change of pace. And I'm always amazed at how many people I speak to down there that are from the area, and they'll say, "Oh, this is my first time to Fire Island." I said, "You're kidding? It's right there. It's been there for a million years, and you've never been there."
I got to imagine it's probably people from all over the place.
Oh, Central Islip, from Brentwood, from Bayshore, and you go out east and west a little bit, and the North Shore, it's like a complete anomaly. You get, just like us up there, but
exactly.
It's like, okay, you're either a South Shore person or a North Shore person.
Exactly. Yeah, I've heard that before. Have you seen like that? A lot of people, not a lot, but do you get a lot of out of state people too, or is it mainly Long Island?
No, we do get. We have a lot of people that come out of Connecticut and New Jersey that have homes over there.
Yeah.
Either homeowners or they'll do their rentals. And then we have a lot of, international as well. That our proximity to the cities is pretty good. You can, catch the train out here, go to the beach for the day, get back in time for a show and on Broadway and go get dinner. It's a pretty quick escape, and you don't need a car. You can hop on the train, get out here, get over, get back, and it's a pretty intense.
That's my wife's life. We live in Bayshore. She express train to the city. Comes back, loves going to Fire Island in the summer because we have that nice beach experience, like we're away, and we love it. And hopefully more people see that and want to move here.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how that works with how many city folks come out here.
Yeah.
And even just for the day, and you can tell because they don't have anything with them. They're not coming out with bags, and they come out with
small
backpack, and exactly, and they're out for the day, and you see them at 10 or 11 o'clock heading over, and then 3-4 o'clock they're going back, and hey, how was your day? Oh, we had a blast.
Yeah, we had a blast. Yeah, usually I have a couple of friends in the city, and same thing. They love to come out here in the summer. They spend the night here. Go over there. We try to spend the night out there every once in a while, but it gets expensive.
It is a resort island. It's a resort area, and I think you're well aware of the resort-like pricing of everything over there. So, but it still doesn't detract from people going over.
Yeah,
we still have a big day crowd, and we're. For the most part, we're weather dependent. Good weather, good business. Bad weather, bad business.
Yeah, that's a good point. The weather probably just determines everything.
It pretty much does.
Yeah, and with the weathermen, you never know what you're getting.
Yeah, this past summer was good. Every weekend we had good weather.
Okay.
Pretty much. So, the forecasts were good leading into the weekend, so people made their plans.
Okay.
And that's really, half the battle.
It's a blessing, right?
If the weatherman says, "Oh, it's going to rain this weekend," then people change their plans.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. One thing I wanted to ask you too, actually, is the parking, because I know right now you guys park in. There's a lot of extra parking in the Toro College.
Yes.
So if the Toro College goes up in God knows how many years, but if it does go up, go down, and the new building goes up, you think you guys will be able to work out a similar type of deal that you have now, where you'll be able to use that as parking, or is it kind of when that problem comes, you'll
No,
tackle it?
we are looking for alternatives
Yeah.
as we speak. I mean, that's going to be a big challenge for us. I don't
Yeah.
see the opportunity to utilize any of that property for our parking. Once it's converted.
Yeah, 'cause it's gonna be a lot of apartments, right?
Yeah, we use the whole south end of the Toro College property, which is about 350 parking spots. So
Okay.
we got to come
Oh,
up
that's
with
a lot,
yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So we got to trying to figure out where we can put 350 cars.
Yeah.
Is in Bayshore is going to be a
Yeah,
little
that's
bit of a
gonna-
challenge.
Yeah, that's gonna take some planning for sure.
Yeah, we have some thoughts. We've talked to some people, and one way or the other, we'll just have to figure it out. I mean,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. You know Jason Fenley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's I love the way he thinks. He's like, hey, just build a parking garage, in Bayshore, skyscraper.
And
But
and that's we've thought about that, but
Yeah.
our parking problem exists 10, 12 weekends
yeah, that's
a year.
the issue, right? Yeah, that's the issue.
We run out of parking typically Saturday at about 10 a.m. And we need it for Saturday night, and
Yeah.
then Sunday, most of the people are leaving, and we have plenty of parking during the week.
Yeah.
And then, so how much money do you spend to solve a problem that you have
Yeah.
10
Yeah,
times a
that's-
year?
Yeah. No, I
So,
get that. Yeah, that
and
wouldn't even make
garages
sense.
are very expensive.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm surprised. Have you noticed a trend as far as, like, only because I think of the way I go, it's obviously because I live here, but even before I lived here, usually I would take a train in and then, take the cab to the ferry. Do you notice more people are taking a cab to the ferry, or you think it's kind of just, because even for like friends I have come from the city, they come from the city, and we either just hop in an Uber or walk, or
Yeah,
you know.
we're seeing a lot more Uber
A lot
and
more.
Lyft.
Yeah.
A lot of people, because of the parking,
Yeah.
scenarios, especially on the weekends, if they're going to head over, they'll just take an Uber or a Lyft down and, head in. If, most people coming from the train will hop on the bus, the
Yep.
David's buses that go back and forth. They also make a stop over at Toro. It's right on the way, and they pick up people and drop people off. So that cycle is pretty good. But
Okay,
we've seen there's hardly any cabs anywhere anymore out here.
Yeah.
But the Uber and Lyft is been a big addition.
Yeah, and what's the other? Was it Davis cab?
David's.
David's. Yeah. So a couple more things. Just wanted to get back to you a little bit. Do you have a motivation that kind of keeps you going every day? Keep showing up to the ferries, keep working. Something that kind of pushes you or motivates you?
Well, I like I like people, and I also like keeping score. So I always look to where improvements can be made, both from an operational and a revenue standpoint, but also from the customer experience. What can
Yeah.
we do to make sure that when people come off the ferry, they have a big smile on their face, or you ask them how it was, and they said,
Yeah.
we had a great time, and
Yeah.
so making sure that our employees are taken care of, and that they enjoy working there, and
Yeah.
they're there with a smile on their face as well, because it reflects into your the service you provide.
Yeah, and that's got to be great because you're outside most of the day. Like you said, you're meeting a ton of almost 1.25 million people.
It's
Yeah.
for a kid, especially high school and college kids. You're outside, you're on the water. It's really a good job to have,
Yeah.
and we expect the kids to work.
Yeah.
And guess what? They do. You just give them direction. You give them some work to do, and the kids don't mind working.
Yeah.
They're right in there with you, and the older kids are bringing along the younger kids, and it really works out pretty well. 2/3 of our workforce in the summer is 25 and under.
Okay, that makes sense. People in college. Or
Yeah, so
people on
we
break,
rely
yeah.
a lot on youthful people.
Yeah, that
you know,
makes
to
sense.
deliver that service for 1.25 million people. So,
Yeah.
you know, we take that challenge, and the kids do a great job, and we
Yeah.
really do. We're lucky, you know,
Yeah.
and this Bayshore, town of Islip area, you know, has provided us with a good source of
Yeah.
employees.
Yeah, that's great. And plus, I mean, it's got to be comforting because you also have so many family members working for the business. So if you're not there one day, you could trust that somebody else is going to take your place and do the right thing, you know?
That's very comforting.
Yeah.
and same thing with the employees. You know, when we tap into a family, you know, when's your brother 16 or when's your sister
Yeah.
16? And, you know, make sure they come down and fill out an app. And,
Yeah, yeah.
You know, is your cousin here or who else you got? You know.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, that's a good point because you're touching each family. You got to think they're going to think of you first when it's time.
well,
for their kid
you
to
know, the
get work.
formula for us, you know, we look at it and say, okay, good kids usually have good friends.
Yeah,
So if we get a couple of good kids down there, we got any friends looking for work, you know, bring them
point.
down and we'll, you know, and you know, 9 out of 10 times, if not more,
Yeah.
they will work out because good kids have good friends.
yeah, that's a good strategy. That's
And
a really good strategy.
you know, and the siblings are the best because they say you will not embarrass me here. So when the younger brother or sister comes in, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
we can't crack the whip as hard as their
Exactly.
older brother or sister does.
Yeah, let them crack the whip. And,
Yeah,
do
and
the easy stuff.
they don't let them screw up. So
Yeah, that's good. What's the craziest thing you've seen on the ferry? There's got to be something that just blew your mind when you saw it. Because I know there used to be a late night ferry. It doesn't even have to be related to that. But is there something you saw that one day you were just like, you went home and just had to tell your wife?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me think about that for a second. Because the one thing I do show people all the time, somebody had a little dog that was dyed bright pink.
No
like
way.
pinker than pink.
Like
And,
not wearing a pink? It
Nope,
was dyed
the
pink.
dog was dyed pink, and somebody who had it on a
my
leash
God.
and was bringing it over to the beach. And I show that to people, and I go, okay, this is what we have for, you know, and we've had people with, you know, bringing pets over, you know, strange bird, you know, a lot of
Exotic
birds,
animals,
exotic animals
Yeah.
and things of that nature. And going, okay, you know, you're going to the beach here. You know,
interesting,
what are you going to do with your little parakeet or
Yeah,
something?
right.
But,
Let it free.
you know, it's,
I mean, listen, that sounds wild enough to me. A pink dog, I'm sold. So just before I let you go, I know we've almost done a half hour already. Is there anything specific you want to leave off with? Anything that's coming up in the future that you think you should bring up? Any new boats? Any?
well, I think we're set for boats for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, we're working with the communities over there to make sure that, you know, we do the best we can in providing a good, solid service,
Yeah.
you know, for the season and beyond. You know, I think, you know, part of our biggest challenge is, you know, the inability to control the weather. We can
Yeah,
predict
right.
weather, I just can't control it.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, you think back to the Sandy days. I know that was a while ago, but God forbid something like that happens again.
Well, you know, the Army Corps of Engineers is over there now doing some dredging to put sand back from the Sandy storm, which is now what, 7 years
Yeah,
ago,
2012.
2012.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're a little over 7 years ago, and you know the Army Corps is just getting around to putting sand up, and it's like, okay, you know, we've needed sand for 7 years,
Yeah,
and but I'm glad it's getting done. I'd rather have it done than not done. So
yeah, for sure.
you know, protecting the beach is, you know, is one of our biggest concerns over there, and making sure that there's a beach to go to.
Yeah, and what I've noticed over the last few years, ever since Sandy, it just seems like they're lifting. A lot of the houses were being lifted.
Yeah.
So that's something that's probably still going on, I'm sure.
Oh, there's a lot of houses that been done, but there's a lot more to be done.
A lot more
So
to be done, yeah. Is it mandatory that they get done over
No.
there? No.
no, if you know, if you want flood insurance or you know something along those lines, then
Yeah.
you lift your house. But
lift your house, yeah.
there's no town or federal ordinance that says you got to lift your
You
house.
got to lift it. Okay.
You know, so
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I mean, it's easy for me to say I don't have a house there, and it's probably extremely expensive to lift it, but it would seem like the best thing to do. But like I said, it's probably so expensive.
Oh, it's expensive. Let me tell
Yeah.
you, it costs it costs a lot of money to get that to happen.
Yeah.
But for most people, this is their second or third home, fourth home, whatever.
Yeah. So they have their own projects.
and or their income properties.
Yeah.
So if you want to maintain your income property and it's and you had water in it during Sandy, you should probably get it up off the ground.
Yeah, that makes sense. Real quick too, I wanted to, since we brought up Sandy, what was it like after, like, contractors going back? And it must have been crazy, right, with the amount of contractors going back and forth?
We were as soon as they let us go back about 2 weeks after Sandy, the boats were busy every single day, and we had freight going over. We were, and so that was our best winter ever as far as work crews.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and
that
people
makes sense.
going over. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
and it was, we made a pretty quick recovery from that. And the following summer, I think for the most part, operationally, we didn't have any impact. But all the businesses over there reopened, and they were up and running. So that was a good thing.
Yeah, and do most of the restaurants and businesses in Fire Island, do they get most of their food from Bayshore, or is it a little all over the place?
Well, they have a couple of different providers, that come down to the freight boat on Maple Avenue, and daily we have the Cisco's and the J Kings and those purveyors coming down and dropping off Manhattan beer, dropping off beer, and Claire Rose and all those guys are down there every day, along with Home Depot and Riverhead Lumber and East Islip Lumber.
Oh, wow.
And so everything that goes to those 8 communities comes over on the freight boat.
Yeah, wow.
So there's a lot going on in the summer, and
Yeah.
this time we've been very busy this winter because this is really when all the construction work gets done.
Yeah,
If you're lifting a house, you're not lifting it in August. You're going to lift it in in December and January.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I mean, the economy's been doing really well, so.
And it shows.
Yeah. Last thing we'll leave off with, where do you see, as far as Bayshore goes, where do you see Bayshore in 5 years? Do you think they're going to keep building apartments and restaurants and commercial space?
Yeah, I really hope so.
Yeah.
I for one am in support of the Tritech project at Toro.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a nice shot in the arm for Bayshore, even though it's detrimental to us operationally for parking.
Yeah.
But I think the greater good of Bayshore will be served for, lifting, because I think we're going to get, more people on Main Street, more businesses will continue to thrive on Main Street.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The services industry, the restaurants, everything will be lifted by that. And its proximity to the train station and things of that nature, I think, is a good addition to the town. And there are also a lot of other smaller apartment complexes that have been
A lot of them.
being built over the course of the last year or two.
Yeah, if you look right, I'll show you after this, but
Yeah,
if you look
right
out the
out
window, you
your
can
window,
see
yeah.
you can see the whole thing. It looks like it's done. I don't know if they started.
The one on
working yet.
Fifth
Yep.
Ave,
Yep.
next to the cleaners.
Yeah, and then God, they're all over the place.
And there's one up on Park
Yep.
that they're doing, and there's
Yep.
one up on the corner over here of Park and Mechanicsville.
Yeah, so that's 3, and they actually look really nice. They look
Yeah,
like they all look like
the
luxury
renderings
apartments.
look great, and I think like you need a place to live.
Yeah.
And when you have 3 or 4 kids, you'll look for a house.
Yeah, exactly.
or whatever, and that's I think the keeping people in Bayshore, keeping their interests and their contributions in Bayshore, I think is good, and I think it'll help lift the community to bring in good people.
Yeah, I think so too, and I'm sure that the hospital too probably brings in a ton of people just as far as wanting to live here because it's close to the hospital, close to the restaurant.
Oh, I think there's gonna be a lot of synergy between the hospital and a lot of these apartment complexes because the proximity is so good.
Yeah, and I mean I don't know much about the hospital, but Do you know if like, cause I could have sworn I saw in Union, it looked like they were expanding something. There was some
They're
sort of,
building a garage.
oh, speaking of a parking garage,
Yeah,
there we
they're
go.
building a 5-story parking garage.
Oh, okay.
That's
Okay, that
gonna
makes
be
sense.
that's going to be the employee garage. So all the ground parking now will become visitors parking.
Visitor. Okay, that makes
And
sense.
then all the employees, the doctors, nurses, and staff will go into the garage.
Okay. All right, that's cool. That
So
makes
that's
sense.
pretty cool. That's big.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
big.
yeah.
They
I
got
saw
a
you
huge
had a
crane
festival.
over there and stuff. It's pretty.
Wow.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, that is.
And they're going
that's
to, they're talking about spending $350 million here at Bayshore, and you get Tritech spending $180 million. And now all of a sudden you start to see some synergies and
Yeah.
some growth, and that's going to attract people.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you know who did these apartments?
I don't know who did these
Yeah.
on Fifth.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but they look great.
Yeah, I mean
They look great.
They
I
look
mean,
amazing.
And as long as they got people to move in,
Yeah.
which is on them. I
Mm.
mean,
Yeah.
that you got to make the rent right, and guess what? You'll fill the place. So
Exactly.
That's the way it works.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, we did a good amount of time. Let's end it. And
Sure.
thanks again for doing this.